Well, First Minister Nicola Sturgeon joins me now. Important to say from the off, Christmas is most definitely not cancelled.
Absolutely. Look, this is all about recognising, firstly, that Omicron is spreading really fast, faster than anything we've seen in the pandemic so far, which obviously is quite a big statement. So we need to take sensible precautions to slow it down while we get more and more boosters into people's arms. So what I've tried to do is give people advice about limiting contacts, trying to cut down socialising in the run-up to Christmas, making sure we're not meeting with people in too many more households so that we stop the virus spreading, allow us to have a much more normal Christmas, but make sure it's also safe so that we're not then dealing with an even worse situation in the immediate aftermath. So it's about trying to strike the right balance. It's not easy for people 2 years into this horrendous ordeal, but unfortunately we are where we are with this new variant, and we've got to act seriously and responsibly.
Now, you know, you've said it there, people are weary. These measures that you brought in will be really tough for everyone, particularly the hospitality industry. You're having to make decisions that are incredibly unpopular. That must be very difficult.
It's the responsibility of leadership. You know, when you stand to be First Minister, Prime Minister, in any position of leadership, you don't just do it for the good and the easy times. You have to be prepared to lead through the tough times. That comes with the job. It's the responsibility. And I've said all along that my job duty is to take decisions that are necessary to keep the country as safe as possible, no matter how unpopular those decisions might be. I'd be failing in my duty if I was to do otherwise. It's also really important. I mean, hospitality is having a terrible time. It's had a terrible time. This is the worst possible news for it at the worst possible time, just ahead of Christmas. But this is not a choice between protecting health and protecting the economy. If Omicron is allowed to run out of control, there will be more and more people off work, sick or isolating. So that's going to be, you know, businesses without workers, you know, hospital wards without nurses, trains without drivers. We've had train cancellations in the past few days because of people off sick with COVID. So in order to protect the economy as well as protect our health, we've got to act in a way that gets this virus under control. Now, the good news is it feels really tough again right now. It is really tough again right now, but we are in a much better position than this time last year because we've got the vaccine. So we are doing everything we can to get booster jags into people's arms as quickly as possible. You know, right now, Scotland's the most vaccinated part of the UK. As of yesterday, 46% of the adult over 12 population with boosters, and we have issued plans to speed that up even more. So unfortunately, this is a race. The vaccines were starting to win the race. The virus has just learned to run much faster again. So as we speed up vaccines, we have got to come together and act in a way that slows the virus down. None of it's easy, but I'm afraid that's where we are. And we have pulled together before, and I'm asking people to pull together one more time just to get us through this winter as safely as possible.
You've talked about pulling together. There's news this morning about yet another Tory party, this time at Westminster HQ. This again is very damaging, and it shows a lack of trust. Disciplinary action has been taken, we've been told. I can't imagine your reaction if anything similar happened within your party, within the SNP.
Yeah, look, we've got to, all of us, make sure that we are communicating the right messages and you know, making clear that none of us are exempt from this. We are all, you know, politicians are citizens as well. We've all got to play our part in getting through this. I mean, I've got a big worry just now, and not just in terms of the image you've just shown there, but what happened in the House of Commons last night, that the Prime Minister, at a time when all leaders need to be prepared to take the toughest of decisions, if necessary, then he appears not to have the authority to do that within his own party. And that's dangerous because this is an emergency we're in right now. It's a crisis. It's not normal politics. And we need to make sure people are rising to the occasion. So all I can do is take the decisions that I think are right for Scotland, not easy decisions, but try to make sure that we're doing what is necessary to get us through this latest really tough phase of a really tough couple of years.
It's really interesting what you say, because you said, I remember you called this whole Omicron variant a tsunami, and then a few days later Boris Johnson said it was a tidal wave. And we've seen in the past that where you lead, he tends to follow. So I wonder, I mean, you're saying that his authority obviously has been damaged by what happened in the House yesterday, but whether or not he will follow you again. You know, this is what a lot of people are asking in England.
Well, I don't know. I think, looking at what happened in the House of Commons last night, it's difficult to see how Boris Johnson can take necessary action to protect public health, but I hope he does have the ability to do that if necessary. It's not so much is he following me or whatever. It's this virus, unfortunately, doesn't hang around waiting for politicians to get their act together. It's going to spread like wildfire if we don't act to slow it down. Omicron is so much more transmissible than what came before it. Right now it's doubling, cases are doubling every 2 to 3 days. That's faster than even at the very start of the pandemic. So people like me, we don't have the luxury, I every day often wish we did, to say, well, what are the politics saying here? We've got to act and we've got to do what we think is right. And I hope Boris Johnson, whatever political travails he's suffering right now, has the courage of his convictions and the ability to do what is necessary. I think people in England deserve that, but also I don't want to get into complicated funding arguments here, but the way the UK funding arrangements work, we only get resources for financial packages for business for Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland if the UK government decides to act for England. So if Boris Johnson's unable to act to protect health in England, then that's, in my view, really bad for England, but it affects all of us because it means we don't then get triggered the financial support we need to help our businesses. So, the political situation in Westminster right now, in normal times, somebody like me would be looking at it and thinking, well, there you go, Boris Johnson's having some difficulties, but actually health and lives are on the line right now. We can't afford to have this kind of political chaos.
No, it's bigger than that, isn't it? Absolutely is. Some reports, especially coming out of South Africa, to be confirmed, obviously, are saying that actually this may not be as serious as we think. It may be milder than Delta. Is there a danger of overreacting? But it doesn't seem to be that you would ever take that option or take that risk.
Let me try and explain that, because I don't think we are overreacting. And with a virus, the real danger is you underreact, not overreact. We don't know, there's no conclusive or strong evidence yet that would tell us whether, in terms of the impact on individuals, this is milder, more severe, or just the same as Delta. There's some initial evidence from Denmark right now that would suggest otherwise, but we don't know. I really, really hope it proves to be milder. But even if it does, and this is the key point, there's just a simple issue of arithmetic here. If we have many, many more cases because it's more infectious than what has come before, then even if a smaller proportion of those cases need hospital care, the absolute number is going to be bigger. So the pressure on the health service is going to be much greater with a more transmissible variant. Plus, even if the severe illness is half the rate it is with previous variants, that's still a lot of people becoming seriously ill and potentially dying. So I don't think we should ever be complacent about that. So I really hope it's milder, but the basic and quite brutal point of arithmetic here, we've had in the past few weeks round about 2,700 cases, recorded cases a day on average. Delta hospitalises about 2% of cases. So that's about 400 hospital admissions a week. If we suddenly get 10,000 cases a day, even if the hospital rate is half of Delta, say 1%, that's many, many more people in absolute terms going into hospital. So that's the situation we've really got to guard against, which is why we've got to act now to try to stem transmission, while, as I say, we speed up the delivery of boosters, which we're absolutely focused on as our top priority.
Nicola Sturgeon, thank you. Not afraid to make unpopular decisions. Thank you very much for your time this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Lorraine on the ITV Hub and all the best clips, compilations and playlists right here on our channel. Just subscribe now and you'll never miss an upload. Click here to watch another video similar to this one, or click here to head to our channel's homepage to explore all of our exciting videos.